Well, hey there everybody, Jonathan Doyle with you once again. Welcome back as always to the Catholic Teacher Daily Message. So stoked you could make it. Thanks for coming back. Please make sure as always that you have subscribed. Hit those subscribe buttons, and there are a bunch of free links here to 10 weeks free access to my Going Deeper program, and also information about booking me to come and speak at your school or event. So go check those out. Today we're going to go with one of the greats, St. Francis de Sales. Man, and who wouldn't be Catholic? We've got so many incredible men and women saints, so many great men and women that have just blazed a path for us. They've cut the trail in front of us. So today, St. Francis de Sales is going to remind us of something that can be really helpful as Catholic educators. Let's do it. Have patience with all things, but chiefly have patience with yourself. Do not lose courage in considering your own imperfections, but instantly set about remedying them. Every day, begin the task anew. I love this quote. You know, this is how God speaks, right? People say, God doesn't speak to me, or I prayed and God didn't speak. I have learned over many, many years in the spiritual journey that how he tends to speak is through a kind of, for me, like a message will kind of repeat through different things over a period of time. And this is an example of it. Struggling with our imperfections and sin. Now, let's put this in the Catholic teacher context. You might find that sometimes you've been really impatient, you've been cranky, you've overreacted, you've said or done something either with colleagues or students that you wish you could have undone. You know, you were critical or you were tired, and we all have it, right? We all have aspects of our personality that we wish were different. So what St. Francis is reminding us of today is, what do we do with that? What do we do with this? Well, I'll tell you what the devil wants you to do with it. What the devil wants you to do is get crushed under the weight of your imperfection. The minute you hear an internal dialogue that says, oh, you always do this, you'll never change. My gosh, if everybody knew how much of a sinner you really were, then they would be shocked. You know, if all your sins as a teacher were put up on a big screen and everybody saw them, everybody would be like, oh, we never knew that there was such a sinner amongst us, right? The minute you hear crushing criticism, or you hear a voice that's like, you're never going to get any better, you're always going to be snapping at kids, you're always going to treat this colleague the same way. As soon as you hear global statements, always, never, you always do this, that's the evil one, right? He was a murderer from the beginning. Jesus tells us he is a liar, and when he lies, he speaks his own native tongue. So when you hear lies such as you are this and you'll never change, and that's a lie, because what the Father says, what Jesus says, what the Spirit says, what the saints are saying is, you can change. You can change. You can grow. There's always an open door. There's always tomorrow. So what St. Francis de Sales is telling us today is to have patience with your imperfections. The things that you, as a teacher, you wish you could do a bit differently, patience. So what I'm learning is both the patience part and also the abandonment part, which is I have to try and practically do what I can to overcome my faults, but I'm getting a lot more traction these days from radically abandoning myself to the provision of God. I've been reading a lot of Father Jacques Philippe and also Father Pierre de Caussade, who wrote the book Abandonment to Divine Providence. And there's this beautiful section about how do you deal with your own imperfections. And they basically say, the minute you fall, you mustn't fall into despondency. And they give this example. They say probably the best thing to say is, Lord, I'm sorry that I have offended you, but I am so weak that it's really quite surprising that I haven't done much worse. I love that. I love that. Because it kind of has a humorous aspect to our own incapacity and weakness. Lord, I'm sorry I was rude to one of my colleagues at school today. Lord, I'm sorry I was dismissive of one of my students and didn't see the best in them and said something to them that may have upset them or hurt them. But Lord, you know what? I'm not going to dwell on my weakness, because it's really a miracle that I haven't done something 50 times worse today. And that throws us back under the providence and love of God, that he will gently over time heal our imperfections and weaknesses if we admit our vulnerability and frailty and we become more and more dependent on his grace. So go gently with yourself. If there's a habit or a pattern that you're noticing in yourself that you want to change, Don't beat yourself up. Acknowledge it, ask for grace, and thank God that you haven't done something 100 times worse, because we're all probably capable of it. We are contingent beings. We are dependent creatures. All right. I hope that's a hopeful message, because I'm learning that a lot of hope comes when you realise it doesn't all depend on you to be perfect anymore. Please make sure you've subscribed, share this with some people, go and check out all the free links. My name's Jonathan Doyle, and I'm going to have another message for you tomorrow.